My job's back. Yeah. How are you? Huh? Good, yeah. We will throw. Did you break? These two break? You know, there's a sliding line. There's some right there. There's
Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Page 3. All sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in the glorious kind Lama Vajradhara, the embodiment of the body, speech, mind, qualities and activities of the Buddhas of the 10 directions and the 3 times, source of the 84,000 categories of the teaching and Lord of the Sanghas. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas of the Yidams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom. Page 4. Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. The previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path. I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path. Page 5. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Nam.
เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจวายเกจ Nam. เจ
Amida Wai Joy Jin Chada Nidai Jele Dong Yong La Nidai Joy Jin Benzorai Samada Benzorai Samada Benzorai Samada. Refuge of all sentient beings without exception, divine subjugator of terrifying Maras, together with their hosts of demons, the one who understands all realities without exception exactly as they are, transcendent conqueror, together with your disciples, please come here to this place. Argam Badem Bube Dube Alo Gende Shada Bani So we'll just continue in English on page 7. The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the 4 continents, and the sun and moon. As a Buddha field, I offer this. May all sentient beings obtain the happiness of the Buddha fields. Whatever merit I have gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of the enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this I dedicate. So then to page 11. Namo, to the Lama of utterly pure appearance and existence, I offer the fundamental ground of appearance and existence. I supplicate you to thoroughly liberate the 3 realms. Please grant your blessings and overturn the depths of samsara. Sublime Master, wish-fulfilling jewel, crown ornament, the inconceivable, inexpressible mind of the victorious ones, the one endowed with the 5 wisdoms of omniscience, gracious one, the embodiment of love, precious protector of beings, I supplicate you from within the essence of mind. Please grant your blessings from within the innate nature. Please bless me that I may realize the Dharmakaya that is beyond intellect, this primordially unborn, completely pure mind, transcendent conqueror, the one thus gone, foe destroyer of afflictive emotions, completely perfected Buddha, endowed with logic and virtue, the one gone to bliss, knower of the world, captain, tamer of beings, the unexcelled teacher of gods and men, I respectfully prostrate, completely touching my head to the stainless feet of the unequal Shakya king. At the time of your birth, leader of 2-legged beings, taking 7 steps on this great earth, you proclaimed, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise even then, I prostrate. Possessing a body of complete purity, your sublime form is excellent. An ocean of primordial wisdom, you are like a golden mountain, the one whose renown is evident throughout the 3 worlds, protector of supreme attainment. To you I prostrate. To you who are endowed with the supreme marks, whose face is like an immaculate moon, to you, the one with a complexion like gold, I prostrate. A flawless one such as you, among the 3 levels of existence, is most exquisite. Unparalleled omniscient one, to you I prostrate. Supreme among humans, captain of those to be tamed, the one thus gone who severs the all-binding fetters, who with senses pacified is utterly pacified and skilled in peace. To that one, the one who dwelled at Shrivasti, I prostrate. Refuge endowed with great compassion, totally omniscient one who indicates the way, ground basis for oceans of merit and qualities, I prostrate to the one thus gone. The pure cause free from attachments, the virtue that liberates from the lower realms, the altogether supreme ultimate truth, to the pacifying Dharma I prostrate. Having been liberated, they also reveal the path to liberation, thoroughly respectful of the three higher trainings. They are a field of sublime qualities. To the Sangha, I also prostrate. And then we flip to page 15.
That's it. So,
Oh,
page 60 weekend, the refuge started on this refuge on some of paper.
So 16 level. Okay, so we'll do page 16 now because I think we will go back. We'll do this later in a bit. We'll do the page 15. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the two vehicles and their combination according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thiên đã thấy ngã số tỷ là nhau, là tiêm đốt đồng bạc chỉ bộ luật thật đồng bộ mà chỉ cái Dhammapada mà thích more.
So before we get started with the Dhammapada teachings, actually, Dhruvan Rinpoche would like to give Gamel the refuge vows. So we'll begin by just doing a brief refuge ceremony, and then we'll start with the continuation of the Dhammapada teachings.
tại cái thằng ngã số tỷ là tiêm đốt sửa ý là yang tiêm đốt thì là thế này tại cái thằng có chỉ chấp chốt sản đâu chỉ là vừa chấp chốt sản thì yang đó cái thằng chỉ khởi sự gọi là kháng giọng mòn đầu à thằng thế này chỉ chủ lực mòn đầu à thiên địa là tiền chỉ này có ta chỉ giáo育sinh đến như thế thiên địa mong muốn chỉ
Dini Mishimbachi the Lendu Ken Yorebe Lako Sarbe. Guides in a me Sakakashi do. Yeah, that's how they like it. So then, so when it comes to refuge, so in general, there are a lot of different objects of refuge that we could choose from.
The individual they can, different thinking
depending on the different ways of thinking of individuals, there are so many different types of objects of refuge that people take refuge in. For instance, we also have many different religions. In each of those religions kind of have their specific objects of refuge. But it is important to seek refuge, to take refuge in an object of refuge that is really kind of special or beyond and different from the ordinary.
Tene ta chetan tene ri ti na yang nga chota ngaba sangje be ke ji ngochi na jamro sa tala sundo gure se na tene sangje la ja sundo gure es
And so, of these objects of refuge, as Buddhists, we take mainly our main source of refuge is the first of the three jewels, which is the exalted refuge of the Buddha, the transcendent conqueror, the Buddha.
Tini ta chitang nga tso de la yina nga tso da di ji nga tanda pena ta kiamru dongpa hyungya za mazi beke sut su yina yang kiamru si yu nga tso karsi na sanje yin bari ta sanje te tengu yu sari yes tu juna.
And so, for example, the one who seeks refuge, taking refuge in the Buddha, then there is this reliance, this deep reliance on the object of refuge, these objects of refuge that is really sort of consistent and stable. So that, like at all times, we are kind of remembering our refuge, that it's always there. We kind of always reflect upon this refuge that we take in the Buddha.
So sometimes even though we say, oh, I already take refuge, right? But really is the take refuge is that you're familiar, you remember the Buddha.
Every time.
So all the time. So like for instance, we are on life, okay, we are young, okay, I practice, whatever practice, this, that, or this, my yidam, my practice, we can do maybe different practice, The reason is the practice is familiar. So also, then we become old, So then maybe one day you cannot read, okay? So there are no longer sadhanas there, okay? There are no longer books there. But still you need to practice. So that time is kind of like make short, what I do. So you're familiar, Buddha, remember, So if we get younger or, life is fun, if you're not familiar, then one day maybe you will sick. Or they say maybe no longer you can see the sadhanas, or also even you can sleep about sadhana, but you no longer practice. So that time is you kind of karmic input your mind is difficult, if not enough practice. But if you're enough practice, that doesn't matter. You're familiar, you remember Buddha. Even though you're sick, maybe you die, so already there. So that's why kind of we have remind, So sometimes, this refuge practice different or other practice. No, it doesn't matter. You have to remember, okay, so that is actually the Buddha, and he dies. You have to inseparate your mind in Buddha.
When you die, your mind has to be inseparable from the Buddha.
But if you don't remember, you're familiar, maybe you're sick, or may have you worry, expecting, and then you forget the Buddha, So other are powered by, sickness or worry, issues, problems. During that time, you don't remember in the Buddha, you're not familiar with the Buddha, then difficult, So if you're really young, okay, not good, now I really practice, So then you look at the sadhana, you receive teachings, you start practice. You're okay. But I think the conditions comes, so that if you don't familiar, Hello.
Welcome.
Namaste.
Welcome. Namaste.
Yeah, you put it.
Is they brought milk to wash the Buddha?
Namaste.
So today, so then we are, so I say this, yes, we have refuge, specific, okay, take refuge, right? And also this, I will practice and refuge practice, yes. But actually, not only that, you have to, no matter your practice, your deity, but you remember Buddha, you know. If you remember the Buddha, then you're okay, you know, if you can branch, you know, not city, you don't remember, but you have holding the, you know, root, you're holding the, you know, or trunk, or holding root. So everything is there. You maybe don't remember this branch, this lineage, this lama, that yadam, but everything's there. But if you just holding small branch, other things, maybe you can carry into, you know, liberation, or maybe small brain, maybe break. Maybe you lose, you know. So you're not keep into your mind Buddha. So that's why. So the jamdo say the project Thambos jamdo sena jigle la wo jig some good wa. In a hivine kala, jambo baton yanache yomar, sanji tango dwa. Kisi sanji tamina, diglita tigala. That's how. Hivine kala. Kisi hivine ka Shindovine kala chana sanji tamina. Tarda. In a temper chivala, to June de Latin, koji. 이 샤고로 또 자기 그 단단하고 있는 뭐지고 상지 람나 okay yes we can repeat right but in the situation this kind of situation you don't remember even though you not this shut down the first senses then if you're not really in the mind then you keep on remembering.
And so it really, you know, the refuge is really like the root of all of it. And sometimes we think, oh, refuge, you know, that's like sort of the initial phase, or that's easy. But actually, that's not the case. It's the very heart and foundation. And so having that deep sense of reliance on the Buddha and always remembering the Buddha, this is so important, because when we die, if we, you know, that's the one thing, you know, if we can bring the Buddha to mind, if we have a sense of refuge, that's it. That's what sort of saves us at the time of death, is that sense of refuge, that reliance on the Buddha, remembering the Buddha. If we can't remember the Buddha, if we can't remember, you know, our refuge, then that's it. Like, we have no reliance. So it is so important. And so in order to be able to develop such a deep imprint to be able to recall the Buddha at the time of death, then we have to continually reflect from our heart, you know, on our sense of reliance on the Buddha, on our feeling of refuge. Because if we don't create a strong habituation or imprint, you know, of that reliance, then we won't have that so deeply ingrained in our mind stream, and it won't necessarily arise at the time of death. So it's not just a matter of like repeating the refuge prayer, you know.
If you're young, right? So if we're young, then we said, sort of, we try to remember somebody said Buddha. Oh, yes, Buddha, we can repeat, you know. But during the death, actually, they slowly kind of really important part. So, like exactly sharp edge, okay? Which means if we die, so slowly you shut down your five senses.
Your five senses, the five senses slowly shut
Right.
down.
So if doing that, you don't remember Buddha, and then the kind of short age, and then so maybe even though you have senses working, maybe somebody is chanting or Sangha members there, maybe you're hearing, but it shut down your five senses. So the between, if you remember the Buddha, so the five senses shut down, so completely you see the Buddha, you become Buddha. Complete, Or I said this age, if you don't remember, you shut down five senses, maybe it's a die, whatever. That's it. You no longer you're learning. You're no longer hopping. So in order to get there, so every time you remember, So actually work, even though you work, so thinking about doing the work, you're thinking about the Buddha, Also we said the refuge part, right? So also something you're eating, something working to Buddha. Also today's, good day, So then that time you just remind, okay, just Buddha's blessing, today is good, So also maybe not good day. So still, hoping, okay, I think the Buddha give me the path, okay, this make up a situation temporarily difficult, but always, trust, you remind, put no matter how your situation to bring Buddha, and again. So that you really kind of karmic imprint your mind. If you have that, so that's it. So this, I said, just we die. That's be okay, So that's why. So something we really want in Buddhism, Yeah, but if you're not really put your, Buddha all the time, your mind, not mind. Yes, I say okay. We can talking, Buddhism, Christian, this. You can say that's okay, but really Buddhism or not, depending, mind. So we have many practice, but also the main root is remember no matter, actually day and night. So sometimes confusing too here, I practice time, I practice, whatever you do, daily practice. And then just walk regular. So then no pay attention at all. So that's not right. So no matter you specifically called post
meditation.
No, meditation, right? Yeah. Meditation time and post meditation time. So even the post, whatever your regular job, thinking about, So during the work, okay, which kind of your work? But like God, like every moment change it, sometimes okay, sometimes not okay, sometimes like kind of almost like changing is the every second, whatever, every minute, like subject, object, they change it. So that time between, not you all time like 100%, whole day. No, that's impossible. But whatever, just at least, maybe you remember within 2 hours or 3 hours, So that's pretty good, okay? But you forget whole day, you forget 24 hours. So then there you're thinking weekend, right? So we said we hourly, okay, I remember once, within 10 hours, right? Means you're okay, you remember 24 hour. So that's kind of not really, no need to go week, right? Do you understand?
Go week.
No need to go
Go for
no
a
need
week.
count a week. You remember within the 24 hours.
Yeah.
But you don't remember 24 hours. Then we count week. Okay. How many remember Buddha a week?
In 1 week, how many
1
times
week.
did we think of the Buddha?
Right? So then it's harder, if maybe don't remember Buddha in 1 week, then you think, oh, how remember Buddha is 1 month. So they're really far away, You don't remember 1 month, probably not, but I don't know. But then said, oh, maybe year. Okay, how many remember Buddha 1 year? But even though you remember 1 year, once a year, I don't think that karmic imprint you during the death.
You probably won't have that karmic imprint during death.
So how many? 24 hours. Even the 24 hours, they said, the concept that need to 26
21,600.
Yeah. So that concept within day.
That's how many thoughts we
Right.
have in a day, more or less.
So that's you
A lot
have
of
karmic
thoughts.
input. That's much you have karmic input.
Those things.
Okay. So that's maybe you don't have the single 1,000 Buddha.
Mm.
So that's how it goes, Who's caring?
Mhm.
So I said maybe just if you die, all cell phone, okay.
Mhm. Quite likely.
I don't think you home can take the Pure Land or YouTube or really it kind of really sometimes scary too, We hoping, expecting, maybe something happening, maybe okay, future, but how we analyze reality, how I am doing, how much I did, so that's reality, not really expecting is not working, If you do your actual, practice, then yeah, you can hope, that's okay, you can hope result. So that's why this tango is that Sanji Sayati, who much Jumbo Domba Hingain and Karina Kunamba Bihula, Sanji Tango is.
And so that's why it's just so important to recollect the Buddha, so that throughout our lives at all times, really developing that habit so that we will remember the Buddha at the time of death.
You really familiar with Buddha. Chabina, Chatan, Sanji Siya, Lama Siya, Jig, or Rank Sem Siya to Sola, who ordinarily, related level, some Kahayoris, Sanji Kahayore, Lama Kahayore, Rank Sem Kahayoris. Yene Yamne Ya Levina, Penachashana Sanji Ta, Tentoba, Tini Chumbina, Tini, Kasna Nazuk Jula, temporary obscuration. Nyom was a Kalepa Chanro Yoris. Kisi Nyom but Chambe Kabla, but Mutun Yola. Mutun Yor said you in Juriata, no current jugger. Touch Heba Yomari, Sanji Siak, same to down, Sanji de Seade was same, totally. Tiki same scenery, Tosin, Tedan, Rangi same down, Taki Lamando in a young, Tini would Yemeoji, Chagos, that he got Sanji Yoris. In that Sanji Tat Madamina, the legit Tebatan Gitat Madamina, who carson at the separation switches, temporary obscuration ticket, some separation chart yours, for different direction, kino yours.
So as you gradually advance on the path, little by little, then eventually you come to understand that the Buddha the Lama and your own mind, and all of the different manifestations of enlightened activity, the yidams and so forth, are all the same essence. But ordinarily, we, of course, on the relative level, they're all separate. So first, we have to really develop faith and reliance in the Buddha. This is like the root. And then eventually, as we develop, there's more that becomes encompassed into that object of refuge, understanding the Buddha to also be the nature of the Lama, understanding the Buddha to also be the true nature of your own mind. But because we temporarily have obscurations in our mind stream, then everything appears as separate. We don't see, really understand the simplified essence. But as the obscurations in our mind stream begin to purify, then there's real understanding that happens, like manifests, like it becomes very sort of manifest, this actual essence, this true nature, and you really come to understand that there isn't any difference, that what the Buddha is, what the Buddha represents, and the true essence of your own mind are one and the same. And likewise, the Lama is indivisible from that. And so there is no separation there. And then when there's really, full understanding, like the full development of this understanding, that is actually awakening. So when one becomes fully awakened, then this is really known very deeply, or like completely as it is in its reality. But it begins with, developing this reliance on the Buddha. If we don't, and that comes from always remembering, always reflecting. If we don't always remember, then what happens is those temporary obscurations just remain intact. And, and then we have this concept of separation. We see all these things as individually and separate. And that true essence isn't perceived because of the veil of the temporary obscurations.
Lama Sanjis Hara, only that Lama Sanjis Hariadi Karshar, same gang Helgo, Tangi Contua, no, as a sharp edge. Tea Gala, then prepare familiar Uvina. Tini Tandanaji, not what I Yamachi Gugdo, Chita, Sadana Jigugdo, Jingasu Kunondo, motivation, what I Sanji Tango, the kind of Maris, Go Maris La. In the Sharon will Shari, automatic part also Sharon will reflect. Don't send Sharon Gurwa. Tigal Casey, Nazota, life. In a practice you wina, Tinako, that Sharon will automatically. Tigala in Jimmy Mazoti, Yamnetia, no practice here, no Gunotia, no Pango Maris.
And so when there's mention of, for instance, like at the time of death, when the Lama appears or the Buddha appears, so what is it? How does that happen? It's because it appears and they appear in the mind. And so that's like that sharp edge of what it really comes down to is what is habituated in your mind? What are you familiar with? And so this is how, what we do during this life, what we practice, the sadhanas however consistently we practice and how deep our recollection or connection is with that practice, then, if we really habituate these imprints, naturally they will arise, they will shine forth in the mind at the time of death, because it's like a reflection, and it really comes down to what it is that is habituated during your life. So if you practice enough, it's natural, it just comes automatically.
Or that the Tigana, that kitchen body, Penachana, Dundo, Jishuna, that not grandfather, Tiorwa, tene koran yung yori thongro yorwa da ya tene da tanda di ku karchung ke pawayo tele yora hyachi
Karchung di power.
ina tele tamang ngoma da tene da koran kha thu yo marwa kha thu yo mar ina yang tene dan de do la pa nga la ya ji tang do la pa nga da thangbo da koran ke ta nga ringa ji do ringa wearing the ringa yorwa.
What is it?
Ringa center 5
Oh, Ringa.
Tiji stale hashos la do nga go sigres. Ti endu tene ta tindi je le tene ko ta pa ta ya zo zo no chi tin zo nga tan do. Ti da ta ringa ta kong la bu yo ma. Ta ringa ta kong ta khar la bu la na. Ta sanje quality sanje sia ti ti ro ku chi de yi nga da ni sia ti tele khar na ta 장자 용몽방아 창바들 때니 딱 무슨 줄고 다 상지 무슨 줄고 다 상지 무슨 줄고 다 기가봐 다 당기 휴 에지 그 근데 루포 콜럼 펑션이 요마다 that better fat element 다 펑션이 요마리 제가 너에게 지 넘버 똑바디 다 상지 무슨 보다 무슨 도착이요 서로 다 기가봐 Yeah,
so the tatako so there was a story actually someone who was like a grandfather to Drupal Rinpoche was actually his great uncle. But he was like a grandfather and he was at the end of his life. He was dying. He'd gotten to the point where, before he could no longer speak, he asked for the crown of the 5 Buddha families to be put next to him, because at one point he would want to wear this crown. He said, later I'm going to need this. And so then, as he, once he could no longer speak, right, then he showed his 5 fingers. He went like this. And what that meant is, he was wearing the crown of the 5 Buddha, or they want for them to put it on his head. And what that represents, that crown of the 5 Buddha families, is the actualization or manifestation of all the qualities of Buddhahood, the 4 kayas and the 5 wisdoms. It represents the full transformation, the purification and transformation of all the obscurations of afflictive emotions, the full purification of all defilements. And so even though his body was no longer functioning at that point, his system was pretty much shut down, but his mind was completely identified with the essence of Buddhahood.
But he did work hard too
to get to that point.
Yes. So he want to program India. So he took 2 years. So these days we have this go from Tibet to India by bus or this and that, right?
Right.
So he walked. Even though he went to Sri Lanka. So that time maybe Sri Lanka maybe bored. But that time is, I think, India a little bit. I think in 1940s, I think. Right.
In the 1940s.
But so he did the walk everywhere, so not like India and also Pakistan, the Odiyana. So Odiyana is very far away to north. So, but they go through from India through the Pakistan, right? Yeah, so. And also he has a lot of skills too. So he built I saw he built a statue. It's amazing. So, and also the story is he was in the Gamboba monastery. So he just did kind of fixing or remodeling all the Gamboba. That is Gamboba monastery, biggest
Mm.
monastery. So he just some statues, repainting or fixing or and also he's become really popular, very famous in the Gamboba monastery.
Mm.
So he was there kind of fixing all the statues, repainting everything. Then the kind of final day, so just we complete finish, everything looks good. So all monasteries leaders happy.
Mm.
But then my grandfather, he had the dream. So he has dream. So this Tseringma, right? Tseringma, this Malaripas, the protector. So the Tseringma told to my grandfather, you look at my back.
Mm.
So he had dream.
Mhm.
You understand?
Mhm.
So then my grandfather said to tell the monastery, I don't
Look
know.
in my bag or
Yeah,
bag.
Tseringma love your wa.
right, but look in my bag,
Yeah,
Look in
Tseringma
my
said to
bag.
yeah.
not back.
Yes.
Bag. Okay. Sorry, just.
So then he tell the monastery, and the monastery, well, I don't know, just kind of random dream, but maybe you need I want to look the cinema statue. I want to look. So that time, so a lot of statues made the clay,
Mm.
and especially this paper clay. So then the behind the big statue you cannot see, but this leaking. So statue is just almost wash out the big side.
So back, not
Bag.
bag.
Yeah.
Back.
Back.
Yeah, it was back. Look at her back.
at So then they just really he's sort of dream, but he has like clairvoyance, so effects. So interesting. So even though this next, I don't know, almost next generation. So I was the start in Dhammapada. So then they told me this the old monk. So where are you from? This and that. Why is this normal monasteries? Or what is your relatives? This and that. I said, this Campbell is just same family. So it's really surprised. Oh yeah.
Mm.
So you have to make some or the mask or something like statue,
Mm.
So I said, I don't know. No, doesn't matter. You can make something. So then actually I started, I did the mask, right?
Mask.
So I said, oh, okay. So that time I made like their Dharma protector, another Dharma protector we called, actually they called the Chinook, the black dog. Yeah. So this one specific kind of man Dharma protector.
Mm.
So I made. So that's they said pretty good. So that's story. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, tin ta tere da sanje siya di tani konshu ya tere da ngazu sanje jamdro des. Jamdro ne tene tama sanje siwi tine ka tene yang rang sem tere sta tanda ji le thambo bala sanje yores. La medu la ji jamdro domba la so ba lembu yores. Chora yores. 이네 양고 칼레 칼레지 양고 요르비나 테네 제니마지 콜라마 양 세야로다 상제 세야로다 추랑 셈세야도 고 모지를 차보고 요레스 되지겠다.
And so we need to seek refuge in the Buddha. and also understanding that ultimately the Buddha is actually the true nature of your own mind. But in the beginning, this isn't so evident. So it's just kind of a conceptual understanding. And so you take the refuge vows and you take them, when you take the refuge vows, you take them in the presence of the Lama, or they are received by from the Lama who bestows them upon you. And then ultimately, and at that time, you're really taking refuge in the Buddha. And then ultimately, there becomes, more and more this understanding that the Buddha, the Lama, and the true essence of your own mind are one and the same. And so, but it isn't just the Buddha that we take refuge in when we take refuge, although the Buddha is the main object of refuge, or the ultimate object of refuge. But there's also what we're taking refuge in when we take refuge is the three jewels. So then the second jewel is the jewel of the Dharma. So having taken refuge in the Buddha, we also take refuge in the Buddha's speech, or we take refuge in the path and the way, the teachings that the Buddha taught, the teachings of the Buddha, which comprise, for instance, the 84,000 different collections of Dharma teachings. And so this also is, to take refuge in the true nature of phenomena. So the Dharma also being just that, which is based on understanding. So when we understand the true nature of phenomena, we understand that all is arisen through the kind of interdependence that is based on karma, cause, and effect. So the second of the three jewels is taking refuge in the jewel of the Dharma.
니바데 가르세나 다디 베나 산지 줌된데 다로 니동아 비용으로 총벌이 그 총내 성대 산지 성향적 저총 마지와 윤투네 냠랜 강자네 강자 제니 제주대와 냠랜겐데 소차디 요르라나 겐두시야 딱 맞춰 단다디 pensa 쪽 겐두리 땡고 요레스.
And the Buddha, the historical Buddha who lived 2,500 years ago, the Dharma that he taught has been preserved. It has been maintained throughout all this time in an unbroken continuity of practice and transmission. Those who practice the Dharma, who have kept it alive, who have maintained it through their own study and practice, and therefore it continues, it remains. This is due to the Sangha. And so the Sangha is that assembly, or that community of practitioners, those who still uphold the Buddha's, or who uphold the Buddha's teachings and have upheld the Buddha's teachings throughout that unbroken continuity of time since the time of when the Buddha actually lived 2,500 years ago. So that's the third refuge, is refuge in the Sangha.
남주 가서지 단 공시가 너희들이 believe 로지 오가 남바이 나 남바메 시아로 오 I born in the Buddhism country 텔레데는 남바이 시아로다 지 용구요로 이나다 통다 뭐고 돌아 갈세나 지 교원이 전송공 갈송 요새나 잠도리 송대 저 남바이 당면 시야 됐다 트레이닝에 송대더니 이제 상지 되네 기존의 추 개념len징의 연두종을 잡순도나 다 남바세야 지고 남배나라 지고를 마성다 남바 차례.
And so these are the sources of refuge, the objects of refuge, the three jewels, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And generally speaking, there are, we think of Buddhism as like being a belief, like a belief system that we either identify with or don't identify with. So there are many who may say, I'm a Buddhist, I believe in the Buddhist views, or I'm a Buddhist because I was born in a Buddhist country. But what Lord Jigten Sumgun says to be the real essence of what makes you a Buddhist or not, is whether you have that refuge, that both the vows of refuge and the sense of reliance in your heart, the reliance on the three jewels, taking refuge in the three jewels of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, is really what differentiates a Buddhist from a non-Buddhist.
제가 나기야 뭔가 부디즘이 다 스킬고 가 빌립치 맞춰야라고听강요 말이스.
Wait, Gandhi?
그러나 부디즘인들이 religion 심발에 빌립치 맞춰 against야로 방고야라고 강요 말이스.
But it's really mistaken to think, oh, I'm a Buddhist, I can't believe in any other religion because, or I can't, I have to like reject other philosophies and religion. That is not, that is a mistaken understanding.
So we even our life, right? So our life. So you maybe start you discover something vegetable. Then you find I like this vegetable. So you're okay. You eat that vegetable, but you no need abandon your rice before. But you keep going eat the rice. That's okay. You're discovering your vegetable. You added something, different species. That's okay. So in some times, life
So there can be this idea that you have to just once you take refuge or you become a Buddhist, you have to like reject all other forms of spirituality, and that's just not how it is. Actually, it's like drawing from the wisdom of different traditions, just like eating different, having a well-rounded diet. It's not like you only have to eat one food. You can combine different foods and make a very delicious meal.
지금 상지를 잡수로 세야 되는 조사대도 가서는 랑라다야 추티 말이 추티 가서는 상지 코랑기 뭐부 내로 강인바데 체니 당아서 랍샤적으로 뒤인도 지 빌리운도 마이바 way of life 와 그렇지 신대야 대오용야 봐 세치마야 대오용야 틀리지 기치도 송자 이거 예스
And so having taken refuge in the Buddha, then we really sort of take also tiniti kariti sanjay kyapsudro the name chu nelu gangyimba.
상지 잡순도 제탕가서 다 잡순도 qabla 랑란다리한테 갈라서 상지 추들랑 달고로 추세야테 고모보 내려오지리스 마도비기 양지 상지 까도지 땅샤조로 가야 말라 호텔이 스테이한테 모보 내려 쳔바들 way of life.
So taking refuge in the Buddha, then our conduct should be conduct that then exemplifies his teachings or the Dharma, which is actually the way. And that doesn't mean like following the rules that are prescribed by the Buddha, that like, that this is what he said to do. And so that's why we follow it and we do it this way because the Buddha says so. It's actually the, practicing or exhibiting the conduct that demonstrates walking on the path of Dharma, which is really not so much a religion as it is a way of life that brings about well-being and happiness in this life and well-being and happiness in future lives.
natural law.
Mhm. And the Dharma that the Buddha taught is actually like the natural law. It just is pointing out nature, how it is, demonstrating the natural law.
That the that you tanga to Jamlu Domba Hudu, that you want to learn it is yours. So the Hedan Yanati yours, Tindutine, that you know, so check zone Google is, Himbad, Kaizon to this.
And so then when you take the refuge vows, together with that, you have this opportunity to also take the precepts, what are known as the 4 root precepts and the branch precept. And so the 4 root precepts are to refrain from killing, to refrain from stealing or taking what has not been explicitly given, to refrain from sexual misconduct, and to refrain from lying or speaking what is not true. And then the 5th, the branch vow, is to refrain from becoming intoxicated. So either taking intoxicants altogether or to becoming intoxicated. So you are free to choose which of these vows you choose to take at this time, but you have to at least take one of them. So in your mind, you hold which of these 5 vows it is that you're deciding to take.
The Jamdo, Sanje Yang Mari, Yang Ko Jamdo Sikh Karsana, Sanje Yindu, Ko Sanje Gombo is, Sanje Nilu, somebody is.
And so when these refuge vows are bestowed upon you, it is Drubon Rinpoche who is giving you the vows, but he says he is really just like standing in as the messenger because he's not the Buddha. But you, in your mind, you should think of the Buddha. You should think that you're actually receiving the vows from the Buddha. That's really where the vows come from. And so and so to begin with this process of receiving the vows, first what we do is we actually mentally now we invoke the Buddha, kind of inviting the Buddha to come here, to appear before us, visualizing the Buddha in our mind. And also we can think that of the place. First there's the blessing of the place. In order to prepare for this invitation, there's the blessing of the place. So the way that we bless the place is by bringing to mind a completely pure Buddha field. So we visualize in our mind's eye that we are in this fully perfected place. And then as we do that, then we invoke the Buddha, we invite the Buddha, and we think that the Buddha has come here and appears before us.
So now it first the blessing for the ground or place.
Oh, and then once the Buddha has arrived, we recite the 7 branches all together. But first we do the blessing of the place. Oh, Tsamma. Okay. So then okay, so then it says, oh yeah, I see. So that what he just read was, may the ground become everywhere pure, devoid of scorching and so forth, remaining even like the palm of a hand and smooth like lapis lazuli. And so then we invite the Buddha.
So there's story too. So the story this it is like Mende Samo.
So it's like the story of the girl Mende Zangmo.
So Mende Samo was during the Buddha time.
She lived during the time of the Buddha.
So then I think he was in the king's princess.
She was a daughter of a king.
Yeah. So the king know in the Buddha. So there he want to invite in the Buddha or Buddha's retinue. So sort of like king tried to prepare, horses, elephants,
The horses, elephants.
so on. So then the daughter, he said to father, oh, maybe you don't need to do those things, maybe you prepare here. So Buddha is omniscient.
He's omniscient. The Buddha is omniscient.
So we just kind of recourse to invitation, right?
We can just invite him, request him to come mentally, in our mind.
So then Buddha knows he come.
He will know and he will come.
Right. So then this king said to her, oh, okay, yeah, I can do prepare, here, but you do request.
You do the request.
Right. So then he said these letters. So
these words.
So
it said that lighting incense and holding it between her joined palms, she recited these lines, which are protector of all sentient ones without exception, deity who conquers the vicious hosts of Mara with their legions, Bhagavan who knows without exception all things as they are, please come here to this place with your retinue. And so then thinking, thinking that you're inviting the Buddha in this way, then visualize that the Buddha comes and appears here in the space before you.
And then once
the Buddha arrives, the second thing we do is we offer him a seat. Just like when a guest arrives and you say, oh, please be seated. And the lines associated with this, we can just mentally think as I recite them. When I offer to this vast field of bliss, 100-petaled lotuses with pollen beds equal in number to all the billionfold worlds, please be seated comfortably. And so then next there is the offering.
So we can do 7 prayers.
So we can recite that then in the prayer book on page 15. Page 15. I prostrate to the youthful Manjushri, to those in the worlds of the 10 directions, however many there are, all the lions among humans who appear during the 3 times, to all of them without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct brings all the victorious ones directly to mind. Bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in the realms, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single atom, there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of their sons and daughters. Like that, I imagine the whole Dhammapada completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible, praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of all the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas, with the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointments, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest incense. I make offerings to the victorious ones. with the finest cloths, supreme scents, and fine powders equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways, I make offerings to those victorious ones. With vast and unsurpassable offerings, I venerate all the victorious ones. Through the power of faith and excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to the victorious ones. Whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity, I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit, the victorious ones of the 10 directions, the bodhisattvas, the Pratyeka Buddhas, those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors, the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who passing through the stages of awakening, attain Buddhahood beyond detachment, to turn the unsurpassable Dharma wheel. I supplicate with my palms joined together those who intend to demonstrate nirvana, to remain for kalpas as numerous as atoms in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. I dedicate whatever slight virtue is accumulated through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and supplicating to enlightenment.
Mixik day, mixik tune oji. Parason, mixik no that, Kachambo no oji. Re Sambatang Tiantin, Ajambo Dumba Hudu, Ranchibu, Chit Maimba, Sinchang, Tongimbatang. Tiana Yiki to Tian, the Nichi, this that Carset send the Jam Maimba, the Nichi, some magic part of Majambo Dumba Hugo, some this.
And so then there are the sort of specific attributes that what?
Joyful.
So like the specific attributes or kind of intention that we can actively cultivate to assist this process of taking refuge. And the main thing is to do so, with an attitude of real joy, feeling really kind of an attitude of rejoicing in your own merit. And also to understanding, how sort of sacred and precious this is. And also then there's the specific time period. For instance, there are different objectives that we can have regarding, the duration for which we take particular vows. And this is not just for a year. It's not for a few months. It's not even
this is, most important in my life.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And this year is special year. This month is special month. And this day is special day. And this time is special day. So that's the motivation.
Okay. And then not just even, we don't just, we can even expand then our motivation to not just be that we're taking refuge for our own sake, but that we are also, taking refuge with a mind of bodhicitta focused on, the wish to accomplish the welfare and benefit of all sentient beings. And then the time period that we take, it applies what I thought he was saying before, which is that, there are different objectives that you can take the refuge vow with regard to duration. But we, can think that we're not just taking the refuge vows, for a short period of time or for even just the duration of this life, but that that the refuge vow is something, when it's taken, with this objective of bodhicitta, that vow actually remains in the continuum of being from now until awakening, from now until Buddhahood.
Mm-hmm. So now we up to refuge vow. So you can repeat after me.
So you can repeat after him.
Mm-hmm. Sumba
Samba,
공수솔,
Gongsu
다밍,
Da Ming, and you can say your name.
이거는 셰제베,
Shijiwe,
둔데네,
Dudene,
송데,
Songde,
시시,
Jisi,
삼마제제,
Sangmajigi,
파르트,
Bardu,
아니,
Kangni,
남진초,
Namgicho,
상제라,
Sanjela,
잡스체오,
Kyatsuchiwo,
차과당,
Chapadang,
제와,
Dewa,
남진초,
Namgicho,
추라,
Chula,
잡스체오,
Kyatsuchiwo,
소,
So,
남제,
Namgi,
초,
Cho,
겐둘라,
Gindunla,
잡스,
Kyatsu,
체오,
Chiwo,
다,
Da,
지시,
Jisi,
장초,
Changchu,
닝볼라,
Ningbola,
체제,
Chiji,
파르트,
Bardu,
잡솜,
Kyapsum,
짐비,
Zimbe,
게니엔트,
Ginyendu,
로홍치,
Lobongi,
송두솔.
Songduso.
Okay, so 2 times.
So you can repeat in English 2 times. Noble one, please grant me your attention. From this time on and until.
The last one, this master. But
저랑 데 당보 된다
Bible
데
tila.
라마송. 데 얘네양 디 로기요. 심바데 얘네양 데 당보 된다 데 로본 라라 요 말아와.
that's a long the master.
Oh, okay. So de lobon gongsuso. Okay, so we start over. Sorry. Master, please grant me your attention. From this time on and until the essence of enlightenment manifests. I who am called, say your name. Go for refuge to the Buddha, who is supreme among two-legged beings. I go for refuge in the Dharma, which is supreme among those free of attachment. I go for refuge in the Sangha, which is supreme among assemblies, until the essence of enlightenment manifests. Master, please accept me as a lay adherent to the 3 refuges, who observes a few precepts. Master, please grant me your attention. From this time on and until the essence of enlightenment manifests. I who am called, and you can say your name. I'll go for refuge in the Buddha, who is supreme among two-legged beings. I go for refuge in the Dharma, which is supreme among those free of attachment. I go for refuge in the Sangha, which is supreme among assemblies, until the essence of enlightenment manifests. Master, please accept me as a lay adherent to the 3 refuges, who observes a few precepts.
다 디슈글라 가신다 저런 그 some 방법이 사실 이 라비아티 나타났다 지금나니 지금 가리미 전화 전화 방법이
So,
some 나타나는 타미노를 그
so now you can think whichever of these 5 precepts it is that you're deciding to take that were mentioned before, not killing, not stealing, not engaging in sexual misconduct, not lying, and not becoming intoxicated. You can think in your mind which of these 5 it is that you're going to commit to, that you're going to take, whether it's 1, whether it's 2, whether it's 3, whether it's 4, whether it's all 5. And then when when Rinpoche says ta yeno, then you respond saying lexo. And then it is at that moment that that vow has taken root, that you have the vow.
Oh, you know.
Lexo.
That
So now he'll take a little bit of hair from your head, so you can come up here. Yeah.
maybe come like this.
So now you say trola.
So this is top 10 song. That's
Concho tupten sampo. Ti figure, it's just small.
전자순조는 뭐지 마지바나 제조제 저냐만 미바요 고노 고노 배워 저와 더 덕스라 담지도 년민도 이제제 좀 맞춰가는 데게 반대나면 인제서 지워지는 연락하고 간도 줄이게 나오는 서다는 노진상을 공무원요도 쇼 제신 개와다는 담지도 지정로 생각되는 거 인제시 넘어라 반대나면 감사라네 쇼 그거는 되는 데면이 이제 너무 인제에
Ten are tup tens and a tens and a tempa, and tup is tupa. Shakya tupa tempa.
이 성지 때문에 그래.
Sanji tempa. Yeah. It's hard. It is coming up. Chung chung. The boy, but he so kappa. So training, emulating all of the conquerors, may I bring excellent conduct to total completion and engage in holy, pure, stainless ethical conduct that never degenerates and is without fault. In this and in every successive lifetime, may I never be separated from the three precious jewels. For the sake of Dharma, may I be unstinting with even my life force and engage the purpose of wayfarers through great determination. May precious supreme bodhicitta become manifest where it has not yet arisen. May that which has arisen not degenerate, but further increase. In this and every successive lifetime, may I not be separated from the supreme teachings of the unequaled Drikung Ratna Shri, and may glorious gurus
budget
take me
for
into their
food.
care In all rebirths, may I never be parted from authentic teachers and always enjoy the Dharma's glories. Having fully completed the qualities of the grounds and paths, may I swiftly attain Vajradhara state. In each and every rebirth, may I be of noble lineage, clear-minded, devoid of pride, greatly compassionate, and respectful to my teachers. Thus may I observe the Samaya with the glorious Guru. Whatever aspiration prayers have been made for the sake of wayfaring beings, from ever excellent great Vajradhara on down to the kind root Guru, may every one of them be swiftly accomplished.
Okay, now we complete. This is your name.
This is a tiny little card, so I can clarify for you if it's hard to read.
There was someone online, Claudia's mother maybe, who also took refuge during the process. Is it possible for her to get a card?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So mother.
Yeah, Claudia's, I think it's her.
Her name is Eliana, and she's Ellie in the visit. I don't know if she's here. Thank you, Rinpoche.
Her name is what?
Eliana.
Eliana.
Yeah.
Eliana, Ellie.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's her name is Konchok Droma.
Say my name, Rinpoche. It's nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll fill the rest of it out later. It means jewel Tara. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to Dhammapada. Page, I'm not sure page the 126. Jiwo cheta teba tang chita tangba hindene tela khan ye hien namji se tang kong na regyo bi ne ni tang se mo yang tingin zila jo me jors.
Okay, so Dichipo. So on page 127 of the text, the first verse is you can never predict what people will give. It depends on their faith and their involvement. Expecting food and drink from others, your mind will never settle day or night.
That came that get out here. So gom zidu Lucem ni book manoa logi. Go yo, in that lily jixi na chapatan himbayuna, coming is.
What page, please?
126.
120?
Well,
26.
127. The English is 127.
Oh, sorry, that too. Yes, sir. I looking at Tibet.
So the door do bad the chat lu down semla chagjin to chase do you my a lot.
Great that the Telayan ship chatting at the home is on that 1% the slow logic.
So kind of the essence of this verse is the advice to not have too many attachments that are either physically or mentally, because if there's a lot of attachment in the mind, then one won't be able to meditate. So the fewer your attachments, then the more easily the mind and body can relax and settle with ease in a state of ease and contentment.
That's the last I think that can go with can't get there what techi de Zawa Togni, Chung Chiba, Tenamni, and Semoyan, Dingin Zealand.
So then the next verse is, whoever cuts off this expectation, uproots it and throws it away, will be able to enter into meditation, both by night and by day. Oh, that rhymes. That's nice.
Okay, that's what that is. Didn't watch out Davi, me, toward the witch for Mombandavi, Tawami, Subandavi, Chulung means,
Mhm. And so then the next verse says, there's no fire like desire, no monster like hatred, there's no net like delusion, no raging river like craving.
다도 가서는 가서 딜에다 지 강의 용야 이렇게 싸워들라 근데 지 도바 다리 이제 당와라고 나와 근데 말해봐 다 들을 때는 근데 어쩌다 강의 용구요리스
And so all difficulties come from the roots of these three poisons, which are craving, aversion, and unawareness, or greed, hatred, and delusion.
다도 가서나 가서 삼는 방법도 제탄다 가서다 너바이요리 이나양 너바 더버 치와라 지금 가시 샘기 되는 나한테 뭐도 삼바도지 샘되어 마이바 이네 kon doba de chetan doba mache ya da yong ma tin doba te yang ko ji dubya thma to be ki sem ke ten nga go do samba da sem ke ten yang ji dawang do la de ya do tin di ke ko phan thu yo ma ba
And so when there is craving present, then the mind is already disturbed. So when there's like this thought that, I need this or that, I must have this or that. But of course, we can't expect to be without desires in this life. There are things, desire is definitely a part of life, but to diminish it so that it's not like all consuming, so that it isn't, the mind isn't overtaken by craving, so the mind isn't overtaken by aversion. This is the point.
that is some tango go nga zo ki doban di da yang ma nga zo hedang ro lang gi na de kari na ji 다 나랑 지부 용량으로 제 통들라 근데 지 갈세 거래 잡기 기유제비요래 당화제비요래 이내양 다들 가르친 제비요래 근데 차환으로 some 방비나지 뭐 보지 현신 차기요나 다 티 원해지는 대화 임비 깨쳐라 이내 다 들어서 뭐 방법으로 티 차안에 대화 들은 것도 없는 계단 라네 대화들이 너무도 그래서 뭐 방비가라 다 상지송 권한 일이 계단 라네 대화 용도 말이에요.
Dene dangna
근데 지금 도바 효과 뭐 요리가라 대화 용도 와 뭐다 생기듯이 광고를 해서
And so, of course, we are going to have craving and aversion arise, or greed and hatred will arise, or the objects of them will appear, and there will be reaction to those objects. But it's very important to not be confused about whether these emotions actually bring about happiness or not. Because what happens is, for instance, if we're really attached to a particular object, the underlying belief is that that object will bring us happiness, that attachment, if fulfilled, will actually cause us to be happy. So to overcome this misunderstanding, then we should really look and examine what is happening when we have strong attachment arise toward a particular thing, toward a particular object, and see, is that feeling of craving suffering, or is it happiness? Is it actually helping us to feel happy and at ease, or is it actually creating suffering in the mind? And the same with aversion or hatred. Then when there's anger, it's because we think that somehow we will get something from the anger. But if we investigate, how do we really feel? Are we happy when anger is there, when we're angry, or is it causing us pain and suffering?
So when we have afflict emotions, then immediately we lose in happy.
We lose our happiness when
So
an
that's we need to
affliction is
understand.
present.
So whatever we do or think, try to not lose in happy. So how,
Try to not lose your happiness.
difficult, right? Challenges. But the best method is you have to okay. So
You have to be okay.
right, so you planning, you wish, you calm or not, but you both ways you have to accept you are okay.
So the thought is, I'm okay either way, whether I get this thing I want or if I don't get this thing that I want.
Right. So then you can do it. You okay? I want this. Okay. Okay. I say maybe you want the car. You try to save the money, buy the car. Or maybe you cannot. Maybe not enough money. But so this kind of the expecting you have, but you're not lose. Okay, you can get a car. Yes, happy. We can say happy. But if maybe something problem comes, maybe you cannot buy the car, or you can afford, or something like for example. So that times you not lose the happy. Still you okay accept, So that's actually the same thing like this morning's refuge, remember Buddha, always there. Kind of similar, so we meet sometimes we nice person, looks good, so that's okay, happy. But sometimes not. So same time, just still you have to okay. So we kind of this, the biggest issue is in this world, kind of dualistic concept, So we kind of judging right, wrong, good, bad, I love this, I don't like this, I want this, I don't want this. So these make on difficult. Ultimately, is actually which is really this is all really good, This is very bad. There's not like a permanent good or bad, not there. So, like for example, like all concepts different. Okay, so there will be so what is this?
Green tea.
Oh, I said, green tea is very good, Some person, I don't like the green tea. So if green tea is good, then it's everybody says, good, So that's not there. So that kind of we won't create every time. So this is right, really not right, or it's wrong. Only except we said non-virtuous is wrong because the cause of suffering. The positive virtues, yes, we can say right. But other than the what jikenki,
Other worldly designations have no reality.
So that's we have thinking about, So mostly we have understanding that we are the creator, kind of judging. So not really object.
It's not inherent in the object.
현재 예반 통라데 친내에 친나랑 통화가 현재 칼라 토와이 대에 부마 힌도 차 랑게 칸데 마토와 짐보 힌도 형의 복스.
So the next verse is, it is easy to see the faults of others, but your own are difficult to see. You carefully sift through others' faults, but you hide your own like loaded dice. What does loaded dice mean?
Cheating.
It's like cheating in a game or something.
Oh, okay.
Like that.
They're fake, they're corrupt.
Oh, okay.
Loaded dice are corrupt.
So you
Oh, okay.
always win.
I don't know how I know that.
So it's another way of saying like, yeah, you always think you're gonna win if you see the faults of others, like you always come out on top. but
Yeah.
Corrupt.
Okay. So this ngata the buma la buma.
Mhm.
Ina ngata the charger what the charna tini ya tombo chindri ya charna tini the ko buma ta da bali sabre charna winged what
Mhm.
na yita muje chung yo na tini ta do sinde che ya chagre la wata.
Mhm. So, oh,
Buma what they said.
yeah, I know. I didn't quite get
Okay, what
that.
they said in English. Okay.
In English, they don't
Yeah.
say. They said loaded dice.
No, this is the opposite. Yo na te gede pungre is la gwa. Me himba jona kanichis.
Tagarawa.
Huh?
Tagarawa.
Tagrosna.
Like, oh, Kongso Junior, Bei Hunt,
They didn't say the buma hibu.
Bumashindu? No, it didn't say anything about barley, right?
Oh, and the other one it does, it says others' faults are easy to see while your own are hard to see. The faults of others, you
Mhm.
winnow like chaff. You hide your own as a cunning gambler.
Oh, you mean that's the alternate version?
Yeah, it's the alternate.
Oh,
version. It says you
interesting.
winnow like chaff, so maybe that's. what
Oh,
Michelle
okay.
referred to.
Dilla, so it just doesn't say it in the
Alright,
English
so we
in this
have this,
one.
This one
Yeah.
doesn't have.
This
Mhm.
separated like a barley or the hair, not husk.
252.
252.
The separated. So then these guys are missing, right? The all time just only winged, so they're just like go really high up the throw a little bit, then barley goes straight,
Mm.
and then the husk.
The
They
husk.
blow up.
Mhm.
So that means like somebody's false problem. They say like show, oh yeah, he did that, or he did that, or something. So and also these the Tibetan stories, easy to see others face the lies, size of lies.
Lice. You're able to see like a tiny louse on somebody's face,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But your face is you have like a yak. in
You have a
your face.
yak on your
But still you
face,
cannot
but you can't see it.
So that may I don't know.
Okay, I see.
Okay,
Interesting.
maybe last.
Yeah.
先进你把建同的大的就先投关注，得了十八片就了，听了十八400了。
So then the next line, verse is, when you focus on the faults of others, your perceptions soon become distorted, increasing your own imperfections, how far you are from their extinction.
Looks easy, right?
Okay,
Okay, maybe next one.
let's see what this alternate. Now I'm interested in reading the alternate version. If you contemplate the faults of others, always seeking cause for offense, your defilements increase. You're far from the destruction of the defilements.
Okay, namka la ne la mi ke chiroba la ge jorme. Je kan tu la ombraga ki yin yi kwa tu tantis.
And then the next line is, you will never find a path in the sky or a pure monk caught up in the world. The worldly delight, that's what it says.
Namka la ne la mi te chiroba la ge jorme. Je kan tu be ombraga ki yin yi kwa tu tantis.
Chiroba.
Okay.
That's interesting. Yeah, Chiroba Gejorme.
Okay, read.
Yeah, actually, that does seem sort of different, but I don't know how it would be translated actually. Or a pure monk caught up in the world. The worldly delight is self-centered the worldly delight in self-centered action, while the Tathagata thus gone is free from self-centered activity. So the worldly delight in self-centered action, while the Tathagata is free of self-centered activity.
Tate konji kendi ale.
Maybe let's read the alternate, see what it says. Yeah, this is actually more true to the Tibetan too. In the sky, there is no track. Outside the order, there is no true wanderer. Okay. Folk delight in proliferation. Tathagatas are free from proliferation.
다 이제 당어서 두데스야 이도 당이 공추가 나기래 추 참말라 단지 라와 나기래 그 참말 조당 제바라와 조당 제바인데 맞아 크리에이트 치리어를 못하고 추코랑 거 조당 제바레스 이나 두데 그거를 내 탑이나 그냥 가서지 차방 시아티케고 즉 자원으로도 강하고 있어야지
주동어 톱나 가래? 톱나 가래?
두데 해야죠. 조당 제바 딩고 통미나 그냥 가서 즉 차당 똑같다. 가기서 가야 하지.
And so there is mention of this, there's this term, here it says, here it's actually quite different. So let's use the other version, which says, which is proliferation is the word. I don't know why it's not here. It's in the Tibetan, but it's really Dagzin Lagyurwa, Dagzin Lagyure. So they translate it as self-centered and not self-centered, but actually the verb in Tibetan is completely different. It's actually what is in the other version, which is the word for proliferation or freedom from proliferation. So if you know what proliferation means is it's all the conceptual reality that we create in our mind. Everything that is based on attachment and aversion is proliferation. And that's not actually the real reality. And so if the true essence that is freedom from all elaboration or free of proliferation is realized, then there is no longer all these concepts that are based on attachment and aversion.
남가라네 라미 대치 치료발라 개종미 두지 남라 딱파미 상제 남란지 파미스.
And then the next verse is, you will never find a path in the sky or a pure monk caught up in the world. There is no permanence in compounded things. The Buddhas are unshakable. And so the alternate verse reads, in the sky, there is no track. Outside the order, there is no true wanderer. Conditioned things are not eternal. In the Buddha, there is no disturbance. Just a couple.
딘이다 조테레다나 공휴와 나기 추탐지 땐데당 그가 나기 메타 하코위나 네 군진도 요마와 텔레티 카르세거다 에 단 공휴와 나기 담보지 라비요 not losing happiness.
So you mean no fear? Jigdro the fear draw a love you or destruction love you. So so in brief, we could describe this as so mainly because all phenomena are interdependent based on interdependence or interdependently originated or arisen. If you understand this, and if you understand the truth of impermanence truly, then there is no fear. All difficulty kind of unravels. There's no hardship and suffering when one penetrates the true nature of how things are, understanding interdependence and the truth of impermanence.
So we have some questions.
What is a good general practice or a way to be able to find the faults in yourself to keep you from looking at faults in others? Is there some kind of recommendation for that?
Kumishimala da buri, Donna da buri la buri.
Dinda re pena dinda dawo cheya gichidu gande di mixa ginyamlen che yorebe. Pena dinda shengi chun mata rangi chun ta.
Tera ta zu karsana nga su tere chorong la ba na yi ta namba chabra wa namba siya tala chetang nga ta phobe gi la namba la bra namba siya tala ta kha na lo ni ta ya is chil ma lo ya tala go is.
So it's really actually that's kind of a perfect question, given that you just took the vows of refuge. Actually, based on, he said, you know, like when you take the vows of refuge, you become a Buddhist, and the word for Buddhist in Tibetan is Nangpa, which actually literally means one who looks within. So the way to practice it is to always look within, to practice looking within, to be someone who is always turning the mind inward and looking to see what is there.
That nang yi tanda tera wa. Kesi nga so na mata bi na. Tene chi tangi la ba nang yi de me je kyong chung chung ji na ha sa chen bo tong ro ben lies do no kurang face lies do be lab gro Chimbo lies now the dubola mata chejong lo size in the round of the yap do the wire yap say on that tong go ma.
And so
in the ordinary tindi no channel was shortana.
And so when one is not an insider or one who looks within, then they're always usually looking out. And when they're always looking out, then they see the smallest faults in somebody else, and it becomes this huge thing, you know, like seeing like a louse on somebody's face, you know, like, oh, look at that louse on their face. And, you know, not actually said that expression of saying like a louse, it's not because a louse is bad. It's actually because a louse is tiny. It's about it being so small relatively. And then what becomes invisible to oneself is the huge mountain of faults that is like the size of a yak. So if we're always looking outside, if we're not actually being honest with ourselves and really looking at our own mind, we miss those things. But so the practice is to look, to always to reorient, to turn the mind inward and to look.
But also this kind of habit, you know, habitual tendencies, be easy to judge outside, but still we don't know really. So the Buddha, he said they don't know. We don't know other person, you know.
We don't
but
really
we guessing,
know what's going
this
on.
right, this wrong, this and that, just kind of all sorts of guessing or judging. So we just always looking up.
We always psychoanalyze other people.
But we're not really looking outside. But actually, we don't know the outside. So if you don't know, we really not judge, not guess. But we know on our own mind. We never look. Are you okay? You know.
We think we're
never
fine.
Check, never analyze. I'm good, I'm not good, or what are you thinking, what are you walking, are you doing? No, pay attention, look outside. Oh, yeah, that's, I think maybe creator eyes just like this way. Maybe creator wrong thing, create. Only see the outside, cannot see him.
What he's saying is our eyeballs were made the wrong way because we're like, look, oh, it can only look out. We can't look inside.
Maybe two eyes, maybe one is looking inside, one is maybe outside, so they may be better. But anyway, we not look, you know, but actually really look. So that is amazing, okay? If you look your own mind, okay, then you really find you are not really wrong. Then you are confident. So enjoy. So somebody says, oh, you are bad, you are this and that. Doesn't matter. I know my mind is not bad. So they're confident, no matter outside people said, doesn't matter. But also, or knowledge, whatever, you know, I look in my mind, not good. Then other people say, oh, this you're good, great, this and that. What? We really not enjoy. because we don't have the quality. So anyway, so this if we look your own mind, be able to see easy. So that's why, so we can time to time what I am doing, what I am taught. Are you really good person or not good person? So that's the biggest issue here, this world, not here means.
In general.
General. So they're thinking their own thing is perfect, but probably not perfect.
Everybody thinks their way is the right way.
Yeah.
Virginia, what's the word again? That in Tibetan that means
Buddhist, Nangpa. Nangpa. Nang. It's Naga Nang.
What is Naga? You Tibetan? I don't know.
No, sorry. That's in. I thought you knew a little Tibetan. N-A-N-G.
What's that?
N-A-N-G.
Okay.
Then P-A is the next word. Yeah, Nangpa.
Okay.
So this is what is the insider. So this is what the personal cut is.
It means, so that's what he's saying. Like one way you could say translate it is insider, but that doesn't evoke what he is actually meant, which is we have to add extra words, which means one who looks within. Because if you say insider, it could mean they're insiders and they're outsiders, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not actually what the word means. Nong, it's like it's within. It actually has that meaning of within. Mm-hmm.
But the pa means dapo or dapo.
And the pa means like one who, someone. Yeah.
What is the English?
One who.
Well, what is grammar?
Grandma?
Oh, grandma. Grammar.
Oh, grammar.
It's not possessive. It's
possessive. Yes, possessive.
Right?
Yes.
Sort of like
Pa is possessive.
And pa, so it's meaning like the person who, right?
But it's not the same as in English possessive, because that's like well, grammatically it's totally different. Oh. But I mean, that would be like that's a different grammatical thing in Tibetan. But it is, I mean, what it means, the word that he's using to describe that grammatical term is a I guess it's like a qualifier of that it identifies, like it's another way to say it is one who is. I mean, that is what it is. Is it's like it's
right.
Yeah.
In Spanish,
I don't know grammar though.
Like interno, the internal.
Interno. Mm-hmm.
Interno.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so na is inside, pa is like possessive.
Yeah, we could say internal. We could say like an internal person.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, yeah. That's why he liked the insider, because I think what he's trying to say is the it is what that pa is. Yeah. Exactly.
But in English, it's like an insider is somebody who belongs to the
group and everybody else doesn't. Right. So that's why it doesn't work. Insider doesn't work in English because it means an insider means somebody who's part of the group and everyone else is outside
closed group
of the group.
Too, not an open group. Like
you're special.
Yeah.
Right.
Probably internal.
Internal. Yeah. An internal one. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to stick with one who looks within. I think that gets it. So we can do the dedication prayer on page 24 of the prayer book at the bottom. Oh. Yes, so page 24 in the prayer books at the bottom of the page. Mm-hmm. By the virtues collected in the three times, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Trikumpa Ratna Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Sunday.
Thank you,
Rinpoche.
Have a great day.
Yeah, I'll be excited. Also, just a quick reminder to everybody, because we only have 2 weeks now, we have the upcoming Mani Druchen, which will be from the 12th. Oh, never mind, I'll wait.
So you are.
Yeah, I'm Ghan Taman. Yeah, from Nepal. I came last year here. And then I used to go there in Bodhanath every time with the daughter and wife.
Oh, right.
Thank you.
Where is the Buddhist temple nearby? And then I see the dantals and we came.
Thank you so much from Chile.
When we go to temple, we go offer the milk and fruits. So I brought
That's very
this
good.
way.
Yeah, I know this. I go to the, I was in India, so then I vacation, I go to the Kathmandu. I did many pujas for the Tamil family.
Yeah, thank you. So,
And also my friends, he used to monk, so he's his doctor. So his wife is Tamil. We met.
So nice to meet you, Guruji, and everybody.
Welcome. Thank you for coming. So I'll just continue my announcement, which is just that if you, I hope, no, thank you. I'm so glad you got to meet with, but anyway, there is this wonderful event that's coming the 12th to the 18th of November. It's called the Mani Druchen, and there will be chanting and meditation of the Mani mantra, like Chandasik practice, around the clock, like all day and all night. And you're welcome to just come and be a part of as much of it as you like. It will be in the big new meditation hall. So people are welcome to stop in and join us as your schedule allows, but it's a really special event. So please be sure to try to come, make it at least for some of it or as much as you can during the practice in person, if you can, especially. And also if you're not able to in person, please join us online. And if you haven't registered, it would be great to register because then we know as far as meals, what to prepare for. So if you haven't registered yet, please register. And a way that you can do that is going to the website, right?
Drongnorevents@gmail.com.
Okay, so instead, if you could email Damien at drongnorevents@gmail.com. But also if you click on the event, will it guide people to there on the website?
There's a link on the website.
So there's a link on the website. You can read the information there and that should lead you to how you can register.
It's from 12 to 18, you said?
It's from November 12th to the 18th. And then following that, we'll also have really special teachings. A visiting Lama Drupan Rinchen Dorje Rinpoche will be here, and he'll be giving teachings on Mahamudra on the 19th and 20th. And that will also be a very special teachings from the co-emergent unification by Lord Jigten Sumban on the teachings of Mahamudra.
And the 12th will actually be an empowerment.
Thank you. Yes. So the other thing is that the 12th will be a Chandrasik empowerment. So the actual practice will start on the 13th, but please come to the empowerment. Yeah.
And we're looking for sponsors for food.
Yes,
If anybody wants to sponsor food, that's okay.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to sponsor food for the Drupchen, we're looking for sponsors to buy a meal or make a meal and bring it. So just let me know because we're gonna have a list of participants who are sponsoring meals. So that would be really great. So thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, everyone.